The Twitter Files. Journalists pride themselves on speaking truth to power. But what happens when social media organizations work to tilt the balance of power and rig elections? When billionaire Elon Musk purchased Twitter, it was revealed that a handful of employees at Twitter colluded with the federal government to protect the power of the Democratic Party. It might surprise you to know that there are dozens of news agencies and thousands of reporters tasked in 2022 with separating Donald Trump from his base of political support. Last week, the story came out that Donald Trump called for the termination of the U.S. Constitution, here as reported by CNN. CNN Politics by Kristen Holmes. Trump calls for the termination of the Constitution in Truth Social post. Quoting Liz Cheney, Donald Trump believes we should terminate all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, to overturn the 2020 election. Here's Donald Trump's actual tweet. You can see here that he is clearly stating that with Joe Biden ordering the raid on Mar-a-Lago and with Joe Biden placing Trump officials in shackles and throwing them in prison, Joe Biden abrogated the Constitution and threw out the Constitution. If Joe Biden successfully violates the Constitution to go after his predecessor, Trump is saying, then there is no Constitution. Trump is warning about the violations to our Constitution already being done by the current administration. If he isn't protected by the Constitution, then no future president can be protected by the Constitution. This is a very clear statement, but you have all these news agencies whose job it is to fabricate and slant anything Donald Trump says or does. This continues in 2022. Why is this? The American news media fears the ongoing power of Donald Trump. Here's a news story from Bloomberg. Trump Organization trial uncovers secrets from bonus scams. You may have seen this story that said Trump executives at the Trump Organization were found guilty of fraud. What actually happened? Here it is that this one mailroom clerk received a check that he was supposed to take. His job was to cash the check at a local bank and then hand the money over to Alan Weisselberg, the company's longtime chief financial officer. Weisselberg would then use it to tip garage attendants his apartment doormen. So here we have a normal function of business to tip people, and the Southern District of New York made it like the greatest federal crime in the history of the country. But all of these activities pale in comparison to what a handful of Twitter employees did to Donald Trump and the country on January 6, 2021. At 3:01 p.m. Eastern Time, January 6, 2021, President Donald J. Trump sent this tweet stating, "To the people rioting, go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever." The post had 2 likes and 1 comment. A handful of senior Twitter employees are recorded as stating the following. 1503, Patrick Conlon. What the actual F? 1504, Patrick Conlon. Can this go to staff too? 1505, by Patrick Conlon. I'm labeling this now. 1506, by Yoel Roth. Yes. 1506, by Patrick Conlon. Sorry, I actually got emotionally angry seeing that. Turns out I'm not a full robot. Who knew? Mysterious name redacted at 1507. It's gut-wrenching. He's a horrible being. So, what happened here? Donald Trump did his level best as president and leader of the Republican Party to order anyone in the act of violent insurrection to go home with love and in peace. A handful of Twitter employees blocked the American public and those rioting from seeing this peaceful tweet from Donald Trump. According to their text here, they immediately blocked this from being viewed by Twitter users, and they wanted, at Twitter, to see more violence. They wanted more chaos, more confusion, more carnage at the U.S. Capitol, because they could then blame this on Donald Trump. A handful of senior Twitter employees wanted to see Donald Trump blamed for anything that went badly that day, and they colluded to prevent anyone from seeing peaceful tweets by the President of the United States. This is the legacy of the Democrat-controlled news media, social media. When you see images of Donald Trump fighting the swamp, remember, the swamp is real, and it reached out to protect itself, and it silenced an American president. And this process is ongoing today. They're still lying about Donald Trump, not because they fear Donald Trump, but they fear you, the American public, in supporting anyone who stands in the way of the supreme power of the Democratic Party. If this man had not purchased Twitter, we would know none of this. Here it is in 2022. America is in the greatest danger yet of being taken over by a totalitarian dictatorship, not run by Donald Trump and his children, but run by Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. This is absolute power, corrupting absolutely. It's up to you to decide whether you wish to see your children and their children owned as property by an all-powerful establishment and the Democratic Party. They consider you to be their slaves, their servants. Do you speak truth to power, or do you meekly go along with the powerful controlling your lives? Thank you.